Hi everyone. Well, it's that time of year again. We have another Barnes&Noble half-price sale on Criterion collection releases. I've heard tell October 29th, which is this coming Friday. I'm recording this on Wednesday. That's what the employees at the local Barnes&Noble told me. And they've already started doing half price on Arrow videos, but unfortunately my store and none of the other 10 stores in my area, they're in central New Jersey, stock any Arrow. I think they have Dune and maybe one other. I think they only had two Arrows in store, but they're all available half price online as of today. So I thought what I would do, and it is my 10 favorite releases of 2021. And as Lady Bracknell would say, aren't we being premature? And as there's 2 months to go in the year. But I'm fairly confident that these are my 10 favorite of the year. The November and December movies are box sets. There's one box set, and I'm not including box sets in this 10 best list. These are all single movie releases. Although they are including Blu-ray upgrades from titles that have already been in the collection. Also, most of the releases coming in November and December are going to be the 4K UHDs, and they're kind of a different category altogether. There is La Strada coming in November as well, but I have that. It's going to be the exact same release as that's included in the Fellini box set, which you can see in the background there. And then there's also Devi. I haven't gotten that yet. That just came out Tuesday, which I will be purchasing as soon as the sale begins. So I've mentioned some of these before. All 10 of these I have done videos on. You can find them on my site. Perhaps I'll link to each one of them. And I'm going to go in chronological order as they were released by Criterion. This is in 1 to 10. And again, these are favorite releases. These are not, I'm not a film critic. I'm an enthusiast, and I have favorites. I refrain from I do call movies every once in a while a masterpiece, and I always catch my eye. What do I know what a masterpiece is? But having said that, I have tried to pick out movies that I really love, and I thought they had excellent presentations. I think all of these really have excellent presentations and extras. All right, let's get to it. And the first up is Celine and Julie Go Boating. I've recommended this in the past, but this is certainly a terrific presentation by the Criterion. The artwork is fantastic. It's loaded with great archival extras. Also, new interviews with Boulanger and Barbet Schroeder, who were in the movie. Barbet Schroeder produced it. Jacques Rivette directed it. Of all the French New Wave films, I think this is the most fun. It's a blast, and I loved it when I saw it in the 70s. I hadn't seen it since until Criterion released it earlier this year, and I think I've watched it 3 other times. One time was with the commentary, and this presentation has, I think, the best commentary of the year, and this is Adrian Martin's commentary. I think it's ported over from the BFI release in Great Britain, this is a little bit over 3-hour movie, and listening to the Adrian Martin commentary it goes by in a flash. There's so much fantastic information that he supplies in his commentary. The next up is History is Made at Night. That's Jean Arthur, Charles Boyer on the cover. This has a great extra that includes a interview with Hervé Dumont, who wrote a book on the director, Frank Borzage. that spurred on my series of Borzage movies, and I was really grateful to that Criterion released this, because it really did spur on one of the most rewarding and fun series I've ever done on the movies. I think there's like 8 films perhaps that are available on Blu-ray by Borzage. Moonrise is the other one in the Criterion collection. But this is just a super entertaining movie. It's amazing when it has lots of great extras on it. It's amazing when you learn that they actually changed course in of the movie, the plot of the movie, while they were halfway through. Borzage was one of the great directors of romance. Is that the most romantic title of all time? History is made at night. Next up, Anthony Mann's The Furies. And this is just fantastically gorgeous artwork throughout. It's Barbara Stanwyck on the cover. She co-stars with Walter Huston. It's one of, I think, 3 movies that Anthony Mann made that he loosely based the idea on Shakespeare's King Lear. He was actually working on another King Lear adaptation when he suddenly passed away while filming A Dandy in Aspic. This is another fantastic presentation by Criterion. It includes a great commentary by Jim Kitsis, who wrote Horizons West. It has a terrifically beautiful booklet. All the artwork is, as always, consistent throughout. And then we get a book, and this is Nevin Bush's novel that The Furies was based on. I did not read the book yet. I have read the book years ago when I read lots of Westerns, and quite a few by Nevin Bush. So this is another just outstanding addition to the Criterion collection. Just a fantastic presentation. Next up is The Human Condition, directed by Masaki Kobayashi. I did 3 series this year. Borzage 1, Kobayashi was the second. This was just an amazing movie. It's a 9-hour movie, so there's 3 3-hour movies in this set. Although I'm counting it as one film. I said everything I could possibly want to say about Kobayashi. The vision is bleak, but it's an exhilarating vision. This is one of the most, I would say Kobayashi's movies are striking me as ghost stories. He did make a film called Kaidan, which was 4 ghost stories in one movie. But I think all his films are ghost stories. I will forever be haunted by the plight of Kaji in this film, played by Nakadai. Just a great, this was in the collection as a Blu-ray, as a DVD, also playing on the channel right now, but I just had to have this, and it was the crowning moment of my series, the last film that I talked about, and I just can't shake it out of my mind. Next up is a film, Italian film called Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion. That's Gianmaria Volante on the cover, one of the greatest actors in cinema history, and giving one of his most fantastic performances. This is another really superior presentation by Criterion. It's loaded with extras about documentaries on Elio Petri, the director, on Volante, and lots of an interview with Ennio Morricone, who wrote the musical score. And it's one of the strangest movies, and it's really sort of even a companion piece to The Human Condition, because as we see a toxic male individual who has power and abuses that power, just as in Kobayashi's World War II experiences. It was a kind of a community of toxic men that Kaji, the hero of the human condition, had to fight against. The oppressiveness of when toxic men malfunction, and again, a great performance by Volante. Next up is Sam Fuller's Pickup on South Street, with one of the great supporting roles of all time in Thelma Ritter. It's Richard Widmark on the cover, Jean Peters co-star. She was Howard Hughes' girlfriend at the time. Fuller is at the top of his game. This is a really sensational, hard driving movie. You really don't know where it's going. It's complicated in its loyalties. One of the great lines is when the police try to enlist Richard Widmark in their plans to fight the communists, and Widmark says to them, he is a long-time pickpocket, and he says to them, "You waving the flag at me?" Just a fantastic movie. Looks great in this Criterion presentation. Next up is a comedy. We got to have one comedy in here at least, and this is Bringing Up Baby, one of my all-time favorite comedies. Again, we have beautiful artwork. The leopard skin artwork is used throughout the physical release. I don't know what else to say about Bringing Up Baby that I didn't say in my video, but it's so funny. Some of those lines in this movie, Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn, some of the lines in this movie, it just I never forget. I'll be with you in a minute, Mr. Peabody. The love impulse in man frequently reveals itself in terms of conflict. They had a blast making the movie. They improvised a lot of it, and really, Bring Up Baby is a celebration of life itself, of improvising one's way through life, of having fun, and nobody was better at that than Cary Grant. The physical comedy he has here is just amazing. No other actor could get away with the kind of physical comedy that he does in this film. Katharine Hepburn had never done comedy like this. She didn't really understand what she was doing, but she got into the flow of the movie, and I think she gives an absolutely sensational performance, especially in the end when she is jailed and she becomes a gangster's moll herself, and this is and there's also Baby the leopard. There's George the dog. George is played by Asta of the Thin Man fame. Somehow they don't explain this in the extras, and there's some great extras in this release, but they don't. I don't think I've ever heard explain how they were ever able to get that dog and that leopard to tussle the way they tussle in this movie. It's really an amazing sight. They explain a lot of the other stuff. The trick photography that they had to use, integrating the leopard with the actors, but one of the extras on this really goes into detail on how they were able to do that. It's really a technical feat, and this is in the mid-1930s. So going from a screwball comedy to an art house spectacular, and this is definitely art house type movie. It's Andrei Tchaikovsky's dreamscape of his memories, his dreams, people staring off into space, which often happens in art house movies. But what a presentation this is. Now I gotta admit, when I saw this years ago, I didn't care much for it. And when I watched it, it was a little bit of a struggle for me to get through it when I watched it. But then when I went through all the extras, and this edition is just loaded with fantastic extras, including a feature-length documentary on Tarkovsky by his son. It's a work of art in and of itself. A lot of great other archival extras where we talk with the screenwriter and especially the composer. It's just it's a beautiful presentation, and I think everybody, if you like Tarkovsky for sure, if you like art films for sure, but even with that, this is worth a shot, even if you're not all that attuned to art film. The next one is probably the surprise of the year for me, and that's Throwdown by Johnny To. I've never seen a Johnny To movie before. I didn't know what to make of it even while I was watching it. It's unlike any other movie I think I've ever seen. I'm not also unacquainted with Hong Kong action cinema in and of itself. This is a movie about judo. There's no guns, and I understand most of his films there's lots of guns and lots of gunfights. It has a terrifically charismatic performance by the leading actor whose picture is on the cover. It's all style, and it's really not so much substance. Or perhaps the style is the substance, but it's really stuck in my mind, and I can't wait to watch a few more Johnny To movies. Again, the surprise of the year. It doesn't have a whole lot of extras, but it has enough. So it's not the most superb presentation, but this is one I really recommend people giving a chance. And then finally is the most recent release, and that is High Sierra. And guess what? Aya Lupino is top billed over Humphrey Bogart. And it is directed by Raoul Walsh. It's before The Maltese Falcon, so it's the transformation, it's part of the transformation of Bogey as a kind of second string actor into a major star. And he is terrific in this movie. And this movie looks absolutely superb. I haven't yet had a chance to go through the extras. And one of the extras, and there's some terrific extras described on the back cover, but one of the extras is Raoul Walsh's loose Western remake of High Sierra called The Man from Colorado with Joel McCrea in a noir Western, which I probably devote one episode of my content to High Sierra and another one to The Man from Colorado. Okay, that'll about wrap it up. What am I going to be buying? I'm not sure. I have to cut back on my Blu-ray purchases, my physical media purchases. I was fortunate enough in the U.S. we got a whole lot of money in stimulus checks in the past year, and I stimulated the physical media industry. But now I have to cut back a little bit. I'm not even sure if I'm going to buy any of the UHD titles coming up on the Criterion in the Criterion collection, because my interest is basically currently in overlooked movies and underrated movies, and obviously UHD 4K UHD releases are almost always going to be movies that are titles that are popular and understandably so. And I'm not really sure what I feel about UHD. I have a few. I've had the Hitchcock set, which is over there in the corner, and that was fantastic. But I'm happy with Blu-ray. They look fantastic to me. I understand that, in the physical media collection world, we're on an never-ending road towards absolute perfection. But to my untutored eyes, Blu-rays look pretty much perfect to me, but I'm curious. I'll probably buy a couple of the UHD Criterion releases, which begin in November. I think there's 4 that are going to be part of the Barnes&Noble sale. I'll also say one other thing that I've noticed since the July Barnes&Noble sale. Amazon is selling most, not quite all, of the back catalog of Criterion's at half price, $19.99, 20-something. The new releases, they're selling at, I think, $27.99. Criterion website itself sells them for $31.99, so they're already taking $8 off the MSRP, and Criterion even more. And that half-priced Amazon prices extend to through June of this year. This is October, so it's only like 4 months ago. And I expect they'll probably continue on once this Barnes&Noble sale is over. So, but there's nothing like going into a Barnes&Noble store and having all these great Criterion titles around you and picking them up in your hand and taking them to the counter. You don't have to worry about shipping, damage in shipping, and it's just, it's a real kick. And so I'll be buying a few. I haven't yet decided exactly what yet. But you guys enjoy the sale. I hope you buy all the titles you want. Take care, and I will catch you next time.